folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Thought I'd bring you along another talk and drive, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I hope the audio is sounding okay. I am having the worst luck and time with trying to get microphones to work without all the cracking and popping. I'm sure you're familiar with that from listening to them. And I have gone from cheap mics to expensive mics. I've probably spent more money on just microphones than I have anything else to do these videos. And I have yet to find one that doesn't eventually do that, especially going down these bumpy roads. They all just want to pick up noise and crack and pop. Anyways, you probably don't care about that. Just thought I would let you know that I am trying to fix the problem. I want to mention something, so hold with me before I get going with the video, because today's just kind of a ranting, talking, you know, one of those kind of videos. I have a little bit of announcement. We are having a meeting. I know there's been a lot of you that's been wondering, like, well, we're going to have a meeting. And you know, if you didn't know this, the last meeting in December, we had to cancel it. My whole family got sick right about that time, and it just wasn't, we just weren't able to pull it off. And so I was really upset and sad that we couldn't do that, but you know, that's just life. So anyways, wanted to have one this month, our big monthly meetings we have. And now I know it's hard for you folks to get to believe this. I know it's going to be really difficult to wrap your head around this, but occasionally I make a mistake. I know it's not that often. And please don't tell my wife, because, you know, if you asked her, she will tell you that I am just nearly perfect. Like, I never make a mistake in her mind. So please don't let her know that sometimes I make a mistake. Anyways, week or two ago, I told my wife that we needed to set the date for the January meeting. And she's usually the one that calls the lady that reserves the building that we use. And I said, why don't you try to get it at the end of January? And I said, you know, hopefully that's enough time for people to recuperate from everything going on with the new year. I asked her the next day, and she said, it's booked. And so I thought, well, I have to figure out another time, another date. And I got busy, and I kind of forgot about it until yesterday. And I thought, oh man, I never did get the date set for our next meeting. So I talked to my wife, and I said, you know what, we need to get a hold of that lady and nail down a date for the meeting. She said, what are you talking about? It's been booked for like a week or two. I said, well, really, what day? She said, the day that you asked. She said, January 30th. I said, I thought you said it was booked. She said, no, I booked it. She said, I was telling you I booked it. So I misunderstood her and didn't realize that for the last week and a half or so that the building has been booked and scheduled for us to have our meeting there. So, long story short, our January meeting is set in stone and has been, and it's January 30th, which is a Sunday. Same time, same place for all of you folks that come to the meeting. A little bumpy right here. Meeting starts at 2 p.m. I'll have the doors open around noon. You can come and mingle, get to know each other, talk. We'll have some refreshments. If you want to come, let me know. Shoot me an email. And I understand I'm not giving as much notice as I usually do. Maybe that's better. I don't know. If you want to help with like bringing food, or if you'd like to be a little speak at the meeting, usually I give like 10, 15, 20 minutes. You know, if someone wants to get up and do a presentation about something, that's okay. Let me know. I'm working out all the other details, but nevertheless, you know, unless we're dealing with some big, you know, blizzard on that weekend, January 30th, meeting starts at 2. So there you go. But hey, that's my mistake for not getting it out to you sooner. And I figure this early in the year, it's good that I got through with my one mistake for the year. And now I'm good to go for the rest of the year. All right. Today was one of those days of trying to, you know, think about what to talk about. Some days I have it, you know, figured out days in advance. Today I was just trying to think about it. And there's so much going on, and we've covered a whole lot in the last several days. You know, Volcano, fertilizer prices and shortages, and food shortages, and empty shelves, and stuff going on with Russia, and all that kind of stuff. And I think that what most of you, and this is based on the responses that I'm getting from you, comments on the videos, and then a lot of emails. I've been getting just overwhelmed with emails here lately. I think it's not uncommon for me to get a couple of hundred a day. So I try to get through as many as I can. But anyways, a lot of folks are just, it's not that they're just waking up. And I think probably a lot of you are in this boat. It's not that you're just waking up. You've been aware of this stuff for a long time. I mean, maybe years. You've been prepping. You've been into all this. But there's a big difference, and this is my opinion. There's a big difference in learning about it, learning about what's to come, learning about what they're doing behind closed doors, learning about how to prepare, and actually watching this play out. And that's the big difference. You know, a few years ago, you had to kind of look really hard to see where things were happening. We're pretty good at covering up because it was all the little stuff building up to the big. And now we're getting into the big stuff. The big stuff is happening. And it's really hard to ignore it. It's so hard to ignore it that, you know, regular normies are starting to realize it. And I think that's what's kind of got people set back a little bit. They know that all this stuff that we've been talking about for years, the stuff we've been preparing for, this stuff that you know, we've been trying to wake up our family members and say, hey, you know, this is what's going on. This is what they've got planned. Well, guess what? It's happening. Like the everything's been set into motion, and it's going. And you know, with the food stuff and weather pattern changes, and we're seeing that more and more. Man, I was looking last night and this morning of all the different unusual weather things going on all over the world. Places getting snow that they should not get snow. Places that aren't getting snow that should be getting snow. I think one of you viewers commented that lives up in, I believe it was Michigan, and said that people down in like the Carolinas and Virginia have gotten more snow this year than what they get up in Michigan by now, that they've had almost none. I think it was Michigan. Things are just kind of getting out of whack. And of course also the political stuff that's going on. The narrative appears to be collapsing. I'm sure that that's not a coincidence. You know, there's been a lot of people praising that, you know, we've won. You know, their narrative's collapsing. They knew from the beginning they weren't going to be able to milk this thing forever. You know, they have plans, and we're starting to see that happen with this shift towards, you know, climate change and, you know, global equality and all this kind of baloney that they're pushing. And we're watching the very real possibility of famine-level food shortages, the very real possibility of global conflicts. You know, this whole thing with Russia and Ukraine and us, it's just ridiculous. We have no business over there. You know, the rest of Europe doesn't want us over there. We have no interest in being there. Nothing that you know, they're a corrupt country, and the only thing that's really got us there and involved so much, I think, is probably because the president and his family's ties to that country. It's ridiculous. And it's almost like it's what they want. They want some kind of war going on there. Will it actually happen, at least between us and Russia? Maybe not. But there's definitely a lot of stuff going on, and I don't see any of it being really good right now. This whole volcano thing, at some point I might do another full video on it, but there's more and more information coming out, and even the official narrative from mainstream science and stuff is saying that they still don't fully know and have all the details of what happened and what the repercussions of this volcano. But so far, everything that's continually coming out is worse than what was originally suspected. You know, the blast was way higher up into the atmosphere, up into the levels that basically every volcanic eruption that's ever happened that's been that high does cause some level of global cooling. Maybe only negligible, but still some level of global cooling. You know, there's so many things that happened with it that just can't be explained, and I understand some people believe that it was man-made caused or something like that, and that's a strong possibility. I'm not discounting it. I just haven't seen enough strong evidence to sway me that direction. But they certainly, I think, have, you know, technological capabilities to do that. The bottom line is, though, you know, we could sit and debate all this stuff all day long. We could sit and talk about all these different things happening and how bad it's going to be and everything, but the reality is that it's happening. The reality is that probably most of you thought we had a little bit more time before it got to this point. You probably thought, you know, if I could just work a few more years and then retire, or save up a few more years and get that piece of property, or, you know, it's going to take me another year or two to get my food supplies up to the level that I want them to be. Most everyone thought we had a little bit more time. We had more plans to get us a little bit more prepared. And now we're starting to feel that, what if we don't have any more time? What if it's getting so bad so quickly that we're going to run out of time, that we're going to get stuck where we're at, that we're going to get, you know, stuck not being as prepared as we had hoped to be? And I think that's a very real possibility, but I do think there is still a little bit more time before it gets so bad that, you know, we're no longer in preparedness mode. We're in, you know, full-on survival mode. The reality is that most of you, the ones that's kind of been awake to this for a while, and I'm not putting down any of you that's just kind of woken up recently to what's going on. You kind of knew that this stuff was going to happen, and you know, it's like you prepare for the worst, hope for the best, whatever. Pray for the best, prepare for the worst, whatever it is. I get that mixed up all the time. I'm just a hillbilly. But here we are, realizing that in the last 2 years, you know, we went from 2020, remember? Oh, remember, that was like forever ago. Remember 2020? Oh man, that was just like, well, it was just like yesterday. And all the talk about 2020 bingo, and 2020 was going to be the craziest, worst year ever. And then 2021 came along, and we were like, whoa, they really are serious about this. They really are going to force this stuff on us. They really are going to fire me. They really are going to kick me out of my place that I live, or the place that I go to school. They really are going to do this kind of damage. They really are going to arrest us because I didn't put this on when I went into business. Wow, that was 2021. Now it's 2022. And we're seeing, in just a few weeks, all the stuff that's happening. You know, we're seeing that the powers that be they're not backing down at all. They're not saying, okay, you know, we've run this you know, thing long enough. It's time to get on with normal life. No, because that's not the plan. The plan is to continue pushing us forward to a global reset, a global change, a new world, and these people are not going to let up. They're not going to do it. It's all biblical anyways. For those of you that read the good book, you know that it's not going to get better as time goes on. It gets worse. It progressively does. And so we have to really change our thinking. We have to realize that we're no longer that same country, that same place, that same world. We're no longer the same people. We have to start viewing things differently and getting that battle mindset, kind of taking on that warrior mentality. Whether you've had any kind of training or not, that's not what I'm getting at. We have to take on that mentality, realize that we are in those times that we thought about and read about and learned about for years, that we have achieved that. Not that we should celebrate it, but we have achieved it, and that things aren't going to get any better. And whether or not we have another massive volcanic eruption or more earthquakes or a new variant or whatever, another war, we know that things are not going to just get better. They're not going to get better just because some guy gets elected in the White House, or gets better just because a bunch of new people get elected into Congress. It just doesn't work that way. It never does. They might throw us a bone every once in a while, but it's just to get us to shut up. That's all it is. Here, take this, leave me alone. It's like the annoyed parent. All right, here's a stick of gum. Now get out of here, I'm working. And that's basically how they look at us. And that's not going to change. So you have to do whatever you can right now. You, your family, your home, your community, the people that you have connections with, to get yourselves really ready. I'm not talking about the food that you've been stocking up on, or the bullets, or the Band-Aids, or whatever. Of course, keep doing that, and that's great. I'm talking about having a real, the old saying, come to Jesus talk with yourself. That the world is different. It's changed, and you have to change with it. And you have to, and when I say change, you have to get yourselves ready, because the odds now are not really in a good favor of things just being good for the rest of the year or the year after that. Too many things going on, and we have to get ourselves ready mentally, prepare ourselves, just like we prepare our food supplies, and we prepare our training, and we prepare all the other stuff that we do. Now we gotta really crack down on ourselves psychologically. The American people have changed. I was reading the other day, actually it was my wife reading to me some polling numbers. These were amongst Democrats and liberals and stuff, and I don't get into that whole left-right paradigm, Republican, Democrat baloney stuff, but amongst liberals, and it was astonishing how many, I can't remember all the details, but it was like over 50% on most of these, and it would be questions like, would you be in favor of quarantining people that don't get the what? Would you be okay with arresting people, of taking their rights away, of all this kind of stuff? And it would 50+% on almost every question, people were saying, yeah, we're good for that, we're good with that. This is the insanity that we live in. The whole world has gone mad. We live in a clown world now, it seems like. It's almost like we're watching a bad movie play out, and we don't know how to get out of it. And we're not going to get out of it. Not in the way that you and I want to get out of it. We got to buckle down, get ourselves ready, finalize checks, everything. We're checked out good. We're ready to go. It's like going into battle. You've prepared, you've trained, you've done everything. Now it's the final check, gear check, ready to go off into battle. And that's basically what we have to do now, because they're not going to let up. Things aren't going to get better. If you don't believe me, pick up the Bible and start reading it. Read about what's going to happen in the last days and the end times. And it's just like we're sitting there watching it kind of play out ahead of us. Get your houses in order, folks. If you can come to the meeting here locally, these meetings are more important now than ever. It's the whole point is not to necessarily teach you a little thing. I mean, we do have little classes. The main thing is to meet each other. to make connections, to build community. Because right now, amongst all the things that you're doing, that may be one of the best things that you can do. Folks, get your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you very much. Catch you in the next video.